Hello, everyone. Welcome to English in Fluency, the best place for you to improve your listening skills and become a confident speaker of the English language. I am your host, Alex, and I am so happy that you have decided to join me today for this very special long-form practice session. I know that learning a new language can sometimes feel difficult, and I know that you might feel like you are not improving fast enough, but that is exactly why we are here. Today, we are going to try something different. We are going to focus on the power of repetition to help you understand more deeply every single time you listen. The topic for today is strengthening listening skills through repetition, and I have designed a story just for you. We will not just listen once, we will explore the story in layers, peeling back the details so that by the end of this session, you will understand every word, every feeling, and every grammar point perfectly. So, please find a quiet place, sit back, relax, and get ready to learn more each time you listen. Let's begin our journey by meeting our main character for today's story. Her name is Sarah. Sarah is a young woman who has just moved to a new city called Seaview for a new job. She is feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness because she does not know anyone in the city yet. It is a sunny Monday morning, and Sarah is walking down the main street looking for a specific building. She needs to find the community center because she has a meeting there at 10 o'clock. However, the streets of Seaview are a little confusing. There are many tall buildings, and the signs are not very clear. Sarah stops on the corner of a busy street and looks around. She feels a bit lost. She checks her phone, but the battery is low, and the map is loading very slowly. She starts to worry that she might be late. Just then, she sees an elderly man walking toward her. He is walking a small, friendly dog. Sarah decides to ask him for help. This is the first layer of our story, so just try to listen and get the general idea of what is happening. Do not worry if you miss a word. Just follow Sarah as she tries to find her way. Sarah takes a deep breath and smiles at the man as he gets closer. She says, "Good morning. Excuse me, sir. Could you please help me? I am looking for the community center." The man stops and smiles warmly. He has a kind face and wears a hat. He says, "Good morning to you too. Of course, I can help. The community center is not far from here, but it can be a little tricky to find if you don't know the way." Sarah feels relieved. She says, "Thank you so much. I just moved here yesterday, so everything is still new to me." The man laughs gently and says, "Ah, a newcomer. Welcome to Seaview. I am Mr. Henderson, by the way, and this little fellow is Buster." Sarah bends down to pat the dog, who wags his tail happily. "I am Sarah," she says. "It is nice to meet you, Mr. Henderson." Mr. Henderson points down the street. "Okay, Sarah, here is what you need to do. Go straight down this street for 2 blocks until you see a large blue bank on the corner. At the bank, you need to turn left. Walk past the coffee shop and the small park. The community center will be right there, next to the library. It is a big red brick building. You cannot miss it." Sarah listens carefully and tries to visualize the directions in her mind. Straight for 2 blocks. Turn left at the blue bank. Walk past the coffee shop and the park, and it is next to the library, she repeats slowly. Mr. Henderson nods his head. "Exactly. You got it. It should take you about 10 minutes to walk there." Sarah looks at her watch and sees that she still has plenty of time. "Thank you, Mr. Henderson. You have saved my morning," she says with a big smile. Mr. Henderson tips his hat. "It is my pleasure. Enjoy your day in Seaview, Sarah. Don't get lost now." Sarah laughs and waves goodbye as she continues walking down the street. She feels much better now. The anxiety of being lost is gone, and she starts to look around at the city with new eyes. She notices the beautiful trees and the friendly faces of people walking by. When she reaches the blue bank, she turns left, just as Mr. Henderson said. She sees the coffee shop and smells the fresh bread baking inside. She walks past the park and sees children playing. Finally, she sees the big red brick building of the community center. She arrives exactly on time. Sarah realizes that asking for help was a good idea, and she feels proud of herself for being brave enough to speak to a stranger. Now that we have heard the story once, let's pause for a moment. How did you feel? Did you understand most of it? Did you catch the directions Mr. Henderson gave? If you felt a little lost, or if some words seemed too fast, do not worry at all. That is completely normal. The purpose of the first listen is just to catch the main idea. Now, we are going to move to the second part of our practice. This time, we will listen again, but we will go deeper. We will focus on the specific details and the grammar structures that Sarah and Mr. Henderson used. We will look at how they ask for directions politely and how they give clear instructions. I want you to close your eyes and imagine you are standing on that street corner with Sarah. Listen to the emotions in their voices. Listen to the polite phrases like, "Could you please?" and "Of course." These are essential for B1 English because they help you sound natural and respectful when you speak to others. So, let's step back into the story. It is that same sunny Monday morning in Seaview. The sun is shining brightly, casting long shadows on the sidewalk. Sarah is standing on the corner, looking a bit confused. She is holding her phone, but the screen is dark because the battery died. She puts the phone in her pocket and sighs. She needs to find the community center, but she has no idea where to go. She sees Mr. Henderson approaching with his dog, Buster. Mr. Henderson looks like a friendly grandfather. He is wearing a tweed jacket and walking slowly because he is enjoying the nice weather. Sarah steps forward and clears her throat softly to get his attention. She remembers to use a polite greeting. She does not just say, "Where is the center?" She says, "Good morning. Excuse me, sir." This is very important in English. Starting with "excuse me" shows that you are polite and you respect the other person's time. Mr. Henderson stops walking immediately. He is happy to stop because he is not in a rush. He looks at Sarah and sees that she looks worried. His voice is calm and reassuring. "Good morning to you, too. Of course, I can help," he says. Notice how he uses "of course." This phrase is very common when you agree to help someone. It sounds much better than just saying yes. He continues, "The community center is not far from here, but it can be a little tricky to find if you don't know the way." He uses the word tricky, which is a great B1 word that means something is difficult or complicated in a small way. Sarah explains her situation. "I just moved here yesterday, so everything is still new to me." Here, Sarah uses the present perfect tense, "I just moved," which connects her past action to the present moment. She is explaining why she is lost now. Mr. Henderson introduces himself. "I am Mr. Henderson, and this little fellow is Buster." Using "this little fellow" is a warm and affectionate way to refer to his dog. It makes the conversation feel personal and friendly. Then comes the most important part of the conversation, the directions. Listen closely to the sequence words Mr. Henderson uses. He starts with, "Go straight down this street." Then he uses the time marker for 2 blocks. He gives a landmark, "Until you see a large blue bank." Landmarks are very helpful when giving directions because buildings can have numbers, but colors and names are easier to see. Then he says, "At the bank, you need to turn left." After that, he adds more detail. "Walk past the coffee shop and the small park." The phrase "walk past" means to go by something and continue moving. Finally, he gives the destination. The community center will be right there, next to the library. He adds a description of the building. It is a big red brick building. You cannot miss it. "You cannot miss it" is a common idiom that means the building is very obvious and easy to see. Sarah repeats the directions to check her understanding. This is a fantastic learning strategy. When you are learning English, you should always repeat important information back to the speaker. It shows that you are listening, and it helps you remember the information. Sarah says, "Straight for 2 blocks, turn left at the blue bank, walk past the coffee shop and the park, and it is next to the library." She changes "walk past" to "past" slightly, which is natural in spoken English. Mr. Henderson confirms she is correct. "Exactly. You got it." "You got it" is an informal way of saying you are correct. He estimates the time. It should take you about 10 minutes to walk there. Giving a time estimate is also very helpful for someone who is lost. Sarah expresses her gratitude. "Thank you, Mr. Henderson. You have saved my morning." This is a slightly more advanced way of saying thank you. Instead of just saying thanks, she explains the impact of his help. It makes the conversation warmer. As they say goodbye, Sarah feels a connection to the city. She realizes that the people here are kind. This detail is important for the emotional context of the story. It is not just about finding a building. It is about feeling welcome in a new place. Now we are going to move into the third and final layer of our practice session. You have heard the story for the main idea, and you have heard it for the details and grammar. Now, we are going to listen to the story one last time, but this time, I want you to focus entirely on the flow and the rhythm of the English language. Do not focus on translating words in your head. Just let the English wash over you. Notice how the sentences connect to each other. Notice the intonation, the way the voice goes up at the end of a question and goes down at the end of a statement. This is how you will start to sound more like a native speaker. By listening to this story repeatedly, you are training your brain to recognize patterns without thinking. This is the key to fluency. So, let's join Sarah one last time as she navigates her new city, and notice how confident she becomes by the end of the interaction. The sun was shining high in the sky over Seaview, casting a warm golden light on the busy streets. Sarah stood on the pavement, feeling the gentle breeze on her face. Despite the beautiful weather, she felt a knot of tension in her stomach. Her phone was dead, and the map in her hand seemed to be written in a language she didn't understand. She looked around, hoping for a sign, but the towering buildings seemed to block out any sense of direction. Just as she was about to give up and ask someone else, she spotted Mr. Henderson. He was walking leisurely, enjoying the morning air with his dog, Buster. Sarah gathered her courage. She knew she had to speak. She walked up to him with a polite smile and said, "Good morning. "Excuse me, sir. Could you please help me? I am looking for the community center." Her voice was steady, even though she felt nervous inside. Mr. Henderson stopped and looked at her with kind eyes. He could see she was a stranger to the city. "Good morning to you too. Of course, I can help," he replied softly. "The community center is not far from here, but it can be a little tricky to find if you don't know the way." Sarah felt a wave of relief wash over her. "Thank you so much. I just moved here yesterday, so everything is still new to me," she explained. Mr. Henderson chuckled kindly. "Ah, a newcomer. Welcome to Seaview. I am Mr. Henderson, by the way, and this little fellow is Buster." Sarah bent down to stroke Buster's soft fur, and the dog licked her hand, making her laugh. "I am Sarah," she said. "It is nice to meet you, Mr. Henderson." The atmosphere between them was relaxed and friendly, turning a stressful situation into a pleasant encounter. Mr. Henderson then raised his hand to point down the street. "Okay, Sarah, here is what you need to do. Go straight down this street for 2 blocks until you see a large blue bank on the corner. At the bank, you need to turn left. Walk past the coffee shop and the small park. The community center will be right there, next to the library. It is a big red brick building. You cannot miss it." Sarah repeated the directions silently in her head, visualizing the blue bank and the red building. "Straight for 2 blocks. Turn left at the blue bank. Walk past the coffee shop and the park, and it is next to the library," she said aloud. Mr. Henderson nodded with approval. "Exactly, you got it. It should take you about 10 minutes to walk there." Sarah checked her watch and smiled. She had plenty of time. "Thank you, Mr. Henderson. You have saved my morning," she said sincerely. Mr. Henderson tipped his hat. "It is my pleasure. Enjoy your day in Seaview, Sarah. Don't get lost now." Sarah waved as he walked away, then turned confidently toward the blue bank. As she walked, she noticed the little details she had missed before. The smell of coffee from the shop, the sound of birds in the park, and the vibrant color of the library. When she finally reached the big red brick building of the community center, she felt a sense of accomplishment. She had not only found her way, but had also made her first friend in the city. It was a good start to her new life. As we come to the end of this part of our session, I want you to take a deep breath and think about how much more you understood the third time compared to the first. This is the magic of repetition. You did not need to study a textbook for hours. You simply listened, focused on different layers, and let your brain do the work. This method works because it mimics the way we learned our native language when we were children. We heard the same words over and over in different contexts until they became second nature. You are doing the same thing right now with B1 English. You are building a strong foundation that will support you as you move to more advanced levels. Remember Sarah's story when you are in a situation where you need to speak English. Be polite. Don't be afraid to ask for help, and repeat information to make sure you understand. These simple tools will make you a better communicator. We are going to continue now with a new scenario to further practice this skill. Repetition is not just about listening to the same story. It is also about listening to the same type of language patterns in different situations. So, we are going to change the setting. We are still in Seaview, but now we are going to a restaurant. We will meet a new character named David. David is Sarah's colleague. He has invited Sarah to have lunch at a nice restaurant called the Garden Bistro. Sarah is excited, but she is also a little nervous about ordering food in English. This is a very common situation for language learners. The vocabulary in a restaurant can be specific, and the waiters sometimes speak very quickly. But don't worry, we will use the same technique. We will listen first for the main idea, then for the details, and finally for the full flow. The story begins with Sarah and David entering the restaurant. It is a beautiful place with flowers on every table and soft music playing in the background. They sit down at a small table near the window. A waiter comes over to give them menus. His name is Thomas. He is very polite and asks them if they would like something to drink. Sarah looks at the menu and sees many different drinks. She sees water, juice, soda, and tea. She decides to order a lemonade because it sounds refreshing. David orders an iced tea. Then they look at the food menu. There are so many options. There are salads, sandwiches, pasta, and steak. Sarah is very hungry, but she wants to eat something healthy. She asks David for his recommendation. David suggests the chicken salad because it is the house specialty. Sarah agrees and decides to order that. David orders a burger. When Thomas comes back to take their order, they speak clearly and use polite phrases. The interaction goes smoothly, and Sarah feels successful. She realizes that ordering food is not as scary as she thought. That is the general idea of this part. Now, let's listen again and focus on the specific questions Thomas asks and how Sarah and David respond. We are back at the Garden Bistro. The atmosphere is cozy and inviting. Sarah and David are seated at a table by the window. The sunlight is streaming in, making the white tablecloth look bright. Thomas, the waiter, approaches the table with a smile. He holds a small notepad in his hand. "Good afternoon," he says. "Are you ready to order, or would you like a few more minutes?" This is a standard question in restaurants. Notice how Thomas gives them a choice. He is being polite by not rushing them. David looks at Sarah and asks, "Do you know what you want, Sarah?" Sarah nods. "Yes, I think so." She looks up at Thomas. "We are ready, thank you." Thomas nods. "Excellent. What can I get for you to drink first?" Listen to the phrasing. What can I get for you? This is another way of saying, what do you want? But it is much more polite. Sarah replies, "I would like a lemonade, please." Using "I would like" is the best way to order. It is formal and polite. Do not just say, "I want a lemonade." David adds, "And I will have an iced tea, thank you." "I will have" is also a very common and correct way to order. Thomas writes down their drinks and says, "1 lemonade and 1 iced tea." Coming right up. "And for your food?" Now, look at the transition. He acknowledges the drink order and immediately moves to the food order. This is efficient service. David looks at Sarah again, signaling for her to go first. Sarah says, "I would like the chicken salad, please. David said it is very good here." She adds a little compliment to the restaurant. Thomas smiles. "It is our signature dish, made with fresh greens and grilled chicken. Excellent choice." He uses the word signature, which means the most famous or special dish. Then he looks at David. "And for you, sir?" David says, "I will have the cheeseburger with fries, please." Thomas confirms the order. "Very good. So that is 1 chicken salad and 1 cheeseburger with fries. I will put that order in for you right away." He takes the menus and walks away. Sarah feels good about the interaction. She understood everything Thomas said, and he understood her perfectly. She turns to David and whispers, "He speaks so clearly. I was worried I wouldn't understand the menu, but it was okay." David smiles. "You did great, Sarah. The key is to be prepared and use polite phrases." This conversation highlights a very important point for B1 learners. Anxiety is often the biggest barrier to understanding. Once Sarah relaxed, she was able to process the language much faster. She focused on the keywords: ready to order, drink, chicken salad, cheeseburger. She didn't need to understand every single word Thomas said about the ingredients to know that he was talking about the food. This is a skill called filtering. You filter out the less important words and focus on the information you need. It is a survival skill in any language. Now, let's listen to this restaurant scenario one final time for complete immersion. Focus on the polite exchanges. Notice how Thomas waits for them to be ready. Notice how Sarah says please and thank you. Notice how Thomas recommends the dish and confirms the order. This is the rhythm of a service interaction in English. It is like a dance. One person leads, the other follows, and they move together smoothly. Close your eyes and picture the menu, the waiter's notepad, and the smile on Sarah's face when she realizes she is doing it. She is navigating a real-life situation in English, and she is succeeding. This is what fluency feels like. It is not about being perfect. It is about communicating effectively and enjoying the process. Sarah and David sat by the window, enjoying the view of the busy street outside. The restaurant was quiet and elegant, with soft jazz music playing in the background. Thomas, the waiter, arrived at their table with a friendly smile. "Good afternoon," he greeted them warmly. "Are you ready to order? Or would you like a few more minutes?" Sarah looked at David, who nodded encouragingly. She turned back to the waiter and said confidently, "We are ready, thank you." Thomas opened his notepad. "Excellent. What can I get for you to drink first?" Sarah hesitated for just a split second, remembering the long list of drinks on the menu, but she made her choice quickly. "I would like a lemonade, please." "And for you, sir?" Thomas asked David. "I will have an iced tea, thank you," David replied. Thomas jotted down the order. "One lemonade and one iced tea. Coming right up. And for your food?" Sarah took a deep breath. "I would like the chicken salad, please. David said it is very good here." Thomas beamed with pride. "It is our signature dish, made with fresh greens and grilled chicken. Excellent choice," he affirmed. He then looked at David. "And for you, sir?" "I will have the cheeseburger with fries, please," David said. "Very good," Thomas said, closing his notepad. "So that is one chicken salad and one cheeseburger with fries. I will put that order in for you right away." As Thomas walked away, Sarah let out a happy sigh. "I did it," she said quietly to herself. She felt more confident with every interaction. The fear of making a mistake was slowly disappearing, replaced by the joy of connection. We have now practiced two very different but very common situations: asking for directions and ordering food in a restaurant. You have heard the stories multiple times, and you have dug into the details of the language. Now, we are going to move to the third part of our session, which is about applying these skills to a slightly more complex situation. We are going to talk about feelings and plans. This is the next step up from basic information exchange. We are going to join Sarah again, but this time she is talking to her new friend, Emily. Emily is another person Sarah met at the community center. They are sitting on a bench in the park where Sarah walked past earlier. They are discussing their weekend plans and how they feel about their lives in Seaview. This type of conversation requires a higher level of English because it involves describing emotions, talking about the future, and using more complex verb tenses. But do not worry. We will use the same method. We will start with the main story, then break it down, and then listen to the full natural flow. In this story, Sarah and Emily are enjoying the fresh air in the park. Sarah tells Emily that she is happy she moved to Seaview, but she also admits that she feels a bit lonely sometimes because her family is far away. Emily listens and shows empathy. She understands how Sarah feels. Emily suggests that they should do something together on the weekend to help Sarah feel more connected. She invites Sarah to go to the cinema to see a new movie. Sarah likes the idea and agrees to go. They discuss what time they should meet and what movie they want to see. They make a plan. By the end of the conversation, Sarah feels much better. She has made a concrete plan with a friend, which makes her feel less lonely. This story focuses on the language of empathy and making arrangements. Listen for phrases like, "How are you feeling?" and "I understand." Listen for how they use the present continuous tense to talk about future plans, like, "We are meeting on Saturday." This is a key B1 grammar point that you will use all the time. Let's dive into the story. Sarah is sitting on a wooden bench in the park. The sun is starting to set, and the sky is turning orange. Emily sits down next to her with a cup of coffee. She looks at Sarah and notices she looks a little quiet. "Hey, Sarah, how are you doing today? You look a bit thoughtful," Emily asks gently. Sarah sighs and smiles a sad smile. "I am okay, Emily. It is just, sometimes I miss my family. I am happy to be here, but it is hard to be so far away from the people I love." This is a very honest admission. Sarah is using the present simple to talk about her general state, and the present continuous to describe her current feeling. She says, "It is hard." Emily nods her head with understanding. She doesn't try to fix the problem immediately. She just acknowledges Sarah's feelings. "I totally understand," Emily says. "When I first moved here, I felt exactly the same way. It takes time to build a new home." Using the phrase, "I totally understand," is a great way to show empathy. It makes the other person feel heard and validated. Emily wants to help, so she changes the subject to the future. "Hey, why don't we do something fun this weekend? We could go to the cinema. There is a new comedy movie that just came out. Everyone says it is very funny." Notice that Emily is using could to make a suggestion. It is soft and polite. She is also giving a reason for the suggestion to make it more appealing. Sarah's face lights up. "That sounds like a great idea. I love comedies," she says. Now they need to make the plan. "When should we go?" Sarah asks. Emily thinks for a moment. "How about Saturday evening? The movie starts at 7 o'clock. Sarah checks her mental calendar. "Saturday evening works for me. I finish my work at 5. "Perfect," Emily says. "So, we are meeting at the cinema at 7 on Saturday." Here, Emily uses the present continuous tense, "we are meeting," to confirm a fixed plan. This is very important in English. We use present continuous for things we have scheduled. "And maybe we can get some pizza afterward," Emily adds. "Yes, I would love that," Sarah replies. She feels a wave of happiness. She has something to look forward to. Now let's focus on the details of the grammar and vocabulary. The conversation started with a question about feelings. How are you doing? Is a casual way to ask, how are you? Sarah answered honestly. She said, I miss my family. The verb miss is very useful. It means you feel sad because someone is not with you. Emily's response was empathetic. She said, I felt exactly the same way. She used the past simple to talk about her own experience. This is a great way to bond with someone. Sharing a similar experience makes the other person feel less alone. Then, when making the plan, they used question words like when and how about. How about is a fantastic phrase for making suggestions. It is simple and conversational. How about Saturday evening is much friendlier than saying, let us go on Saturday evening. Also, pay attention to the way they agree. Sarah says, that sounds like a great idea, and yes, I would love that. These are positive, enthusiastic responses. They keep the conversation moving and show that both people are interested. If Sarah had said, I don't know, the conversation might have stopped. But by being positive, they build a plan together. Finally, the phrase, let's get pizza, or we can get pizza, uses the modal verb can to express possibility. It is a flexible suggestion. This entire conversation is a perfect example of B1 level social interaction. It moves from sharing feelings to making a plan, using a variety of tenses and polite phrases. It is natural, useful, and exactly the kind of practice you need to improve your fluency. Let's listen to this final part of the story one more time. Listen to the emotion in Sarah's voice when she talks about her family. Then listen to the shift in energy when Emily suggests the movie. Notice how the tone changes from sad and reflective to happy and excited. This is the power of social connection. English is not just a tool for buying food or finding places. It is a tool for building relationships and making friends. As you listen, try to mimic the intonation. When Sarah is sad, her voice is a little softer. When she is happy, her voice goes up a bit higher. This is called prosody, and it is a crucial part of communication. If you speak with a flat voice, people might think you are bored or uninterested. But if you use intonation correctly, you convey your true feelings. The sun was dipping below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of purple and pink. Sarah sat on the park bench, watching the birds fly home to their nests. She felt a small pang of loneliness in her chest. Emily sat down beside her, breaking the silence. Hey, Sarah, how are you doing today? You look a bit thoughtful, she asked with concern. Sarah sighed softly, turning to look at her friend. I am okay, Emily. It is just, sometimes I miss my family. I am happy to be here, but it is hard to be so far away from the people I love. Emily reached out and patted Sarah's arm gently. I totally understand. When I first moved here, I felt exactly the same way. It takes time to build a new home. But you are doing great. Sarah smiled, feeling the warmth of Emily's friendship. Thanks, Emily. It helps to hear that. Emily smiled back, her eyes sparkling with an idea. Hey, why don't we do something fun this weekend? We could go to the cinema. There is a new comedy movie that just came out. Everyone says it is very funny. Sarah's face lit up immediately. The thought of laughing and watching a movie sounded like the perfect medicine for her homesickness. That sounds like a great idea. I love comedies, she exclaimed. When should we go? Emily thought for a moment, sipping her coffee. How about Saturday evening? The movie starts at 7 o'clock. We could meet there around 6:45 to get popcorn." Sarah nodded eagerly. "Saturday evening works for me. I finish my work at 5. "Perfect," Emily said, clapping her hands together lightly. "So, we are meeting at the cinema at 7 on Saturday. And maybe we can go for pizza afterward if you are hungry." "Yes, I would love that," Sarah replied, feeling genuinely excited. The loneliness she felt earlier was replaced by anticipation. She had a plan. She had a friend. Everything was going to be okay. We have now reached the end of our 3-part practice session. We have traveled with Sarah as she found her way in a new city. We joined her for a meal at a restaurant, and we sat with her in the park as she made a new friend. Through these stories, we have practiced listening for directions, ordering food, and making plans with friends. More importantly, we have practiced the art of repetition. You heard these stories multiple times, and I hope you noticed how your understanding improved with each listen. You probably noticed words the second time that you missed the first time. You probably understood the grammar better the third time than the first. This is the secret to learning English. You must listen, and listen, and listen again. I want to encourage you to take this method and apply it to your own life. Find English audio that you enjoy, a podcast, a news report, or a YouTube video. Listen to it once, then listen to it again the next day, and then again a few days later. You will be amazed at how much more you learn. Do not get discouraged if you don't understand everything immediately. Even native speakers do not understand every word they hear in every situation. Focus on the context, the keywords, and the emotions. Trust your brain to fill in the gaps. You are capable of becoming fluent in English. You have already come so far by practicing with this video today. Before we finish, I want to remind you to subscribe to English in Fluency and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new practice session. We upload new videos regularly to help you improve your listening and speaking skills. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends who are also learning English. Your support helps us create better content for you. Also, leave a comment below and tell me which part of the story was your favorite. Was it finding the community center, ordering the food, or making plans in the park? I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for your time and your effort today. Remember, every time you listen, you are getting stronger. Every time you practice, you are becoming more fluent. Keep going, keep practicing, and keep believing in yourself. I am Alex, and this is English in Fluency. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye for now.